This is the KoperCrabb Podcast, y'all.
I'm Cheney Crab.
I am Naveen Copperniece. It's actually Copperwise.
If you would like to help us out monetarily with the podcast, go buy a t-shirt at the link in our bio. If you would like to submit a question, send it to KoperCrabbPodcast@gmail.com. And we will answer it.
Podcast.
Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but
sometime.
At some point we will answer your burning hot questions.
Searing hot questions. Fuck, I should have locked Pappy out.
Locking Pappy out.
We got this is our first episode from
Our new studio. That's actually,
Nashville.
people keep asking us, why'd you move to Nashville? What's the move for? You know, why move from California to Tennessee? And it's all for this podcast studio.
Well, actually, on a non-joking side, those of you who can't see this studio, it's not fully all the way set up yet. I was working on it all day yesterday, but it is got a lot more space.
Way more space.
And that's why we moved to Nashville.
Space.
I think the smallest room in our new house is the size of the biggest room in our old house.
It's true. Literally it's bigger than the master bedroom in our old house.
Yeah. So
that's something California needs to adjust, is like the size of their living spaces.
Everything?
Yeah.
Except for the size of food, of everything. Everything needs to go down in California.
Except for the spatial size of
the food
rooms.
Portions should stay the same. The price should go down.
Yeah.
So
the gas prices. I mean, Jesus, this might as well just be a podcast about
we're just firing straight into
us
it.
naming everything that's bad about California.
Okay, actually, now that we're here, it's I couldn't imagine not living here already, and I think we've lived here for about 10 days. So I guess the last podcast we did, we skipped 2.
We've actually lived here for 13 days.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So when this comes out, it'll be 2 weeks on the dot.
It'll be 2 weeks. And a side note is that today, we're putting the podcast out tomorrow. Today is exactly 7 years since we announced our band, Entheos, into the world.
Wrong drop.
Yeah,
I think I have an applause here.
Naveen's sense of direction.
Anyway, I don't know.
Your sense of direction ever since we moved to Tennessee is just like, it's like you've become discombobulated.
It's alarmingly bad. I can't tell which way. When you come in the house, there's like a little living room, and one side is the bedrooms and podcast room. Other side is studio that we're working on.
Yeah.
I always go the wrong way.
You do always go the wrong way, and you know, it's streets, everything. You're just really, really bad at directions. Yesterday you did something that was like alarming.
It's comically bad.
What did you do yesterday that was weird? Directionally.
Yeah, I don't know. I did something really weird. I think we were driving home and just went somewhere.
No, it was
bizarre.
It was in our house. But yeah, your sense of direction is just all. Phew.
Yeah, it's not good.
Mine's the opposite. I can remember everything.
Maybe it's like early stage
dementia.
That's not good.
Yeah, it's really not.
So good luck to you.
So there's that,
Cheney. But yeah, well, like we were saying, we the last podcast was probably right before Christmas. Or no, it was right before we left.
Yeah, it was.
So we left on the December 18th.
Right.
Which was crazy. I think the move was about like more work than I anticipated.
I think that every time one moves, it's a lot more work than they anticipate, because, you know, our house there was only 900 square feet. So looking around, you wonder what could possibly be in this house to move.
I know. My mom was like, "Man, you guys are minimalists. Like, you
literally
don't have anything."
Called us minimalists.
And then I was like, "Yeah, I don't think so, Mom," because what she didn't take into account is we had a broken down trailer full of stuff.
Oh yeah.
Then we had a new trailer full of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Then, because whenever I had something that I didn't want to deal with, I'm like, "I'll just throw it in the trailer."
Yeah.
And then we have
don't do that.
Some don't do.
Just go ahead and. Don't
I'm already doing that though. By the way.
Well, here we have a nice shed to put our stuff in.
Oh yeah.
My hope for our trailer, which we use to tour, my hope for the trailer is that we do not use it for anything but musical instruments.
I think we can get there.
So
right.
if anyone wants to come and steal our trailer, the address is...
Yeah, don't do that. I'm trying not to overload the trailer, but there is, right now, it's just musical stuff in there. So, like,
and
there's
it's not
some
even
drums.
ours. Oh, it's ours. Okay.
There's a couple cabs from the ghosts of former members of the band.
The ghosts of Entheos past.
Yeah. So that's in there. But
Isn't
what were we
that
saying?
cool,
Oh, we were
though?
talking about the move.
But, well, I was talking about how we started our band 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Which is kind of... I woke up this morning and I saw that video that we posted of Frank. And I just started thinking, because when you're lost, when you're caught in like the fastness of how doing band stuff, writing or, doing a touring and all of that stuff, you kind of forget the concept of time it's not really there.
Yeah.
But
oh, wait, why isn't it there?
Just because I for some reason, I think of it as being like 20 years that we've been a band. That's how long it seems, all of the stuff that we've done. And now that it's put in perspective of 7 years, I'm like, wow, we've done a lot of shit in the 7 years of being a band. Yeah. Very cool.
Definitely. I feel the same way. 7 years is a long time. But for me now, it's kind of a shorter time.
Right.
Because Animosity was probably only a band for 7 years.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I would assume so.
Mm-hmm. And then I was only in Animals for like 2 years.
Yeah. I was thinking yesterday, last year, it's been 10 years since you quit Animals, since we did those
10
tours.
years since I quit.
Right.
Wow. That's crazy.
So,
that's
I mean, and with Entheos, I feel like we're really just getting started, to be honest with you.
I do too. And I think, that kind of goes to say that things aren't all on the same trajectory. Like things happen at different times.
Absolutely.
And that's all right. And you should just have faith that it's going to work out.
I mean, I've just always looked at it this way. There are so many times where you will be in a band and you'll think about it. Oh, maybe I just don't want to do this anymore. But if you cease to continue... Okay, I'll just say this, for example. There was a time, and this actually goes in well with a question that we were asked this week. You know what? I'm just going to say it right now because I feel like we're talking about it right now before we talk about the move. But we got to come back.
Yeah, we got to come back to the move.
So Sean West wrote in and said, first of all, love y'all. Secondly, jokes. Thirdly, it'd be nice to get at least 3 albums a year from you guys. How do artists like King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, Bones and Viper, how do they pull that kind of work annually? And I'm still here waiting for the follow-up to Dark Future. I've played the album Excess of Excess and just wondering why y'all don't release at least 2 to 6 albums a year. Just listen.
Wait, it just went from 3 to 6?
2 to 6 a year.
All right. So
just listen to a bit of the new pod. Nashville's gonna love y'all. Signed, Your Mom's House. We're the Your Mom's House people now.
Wait, he signed at Your Mom's House?
Signed at Your Mom's House. I love that. I love that people are
getting into
now they know that I'm way into Your Mom's House, so they can, Gene.
For those of you who don't know, Cheney made an appearance, not her live, but they did a reaction to one of your videos, I guess you could say.
I would say they did like a practice segment.
Yeah. I
was very proud of it. That's like amazing. One of the coolest things that has ever happened to me.
That's probably one of the coolest things that's ever happened to me.
But in bouncing off of that, it's been 7 years since we started our band. We've been through a lot of stuff, and there was a point. I'm going to get to answering your question in a second, but there was a point right before we decided that the band would just be, that we were going to move on without
anyone else.
The past people.
We're going to kick everyone out.
The people who were touring with the band at that point. I think that I know that there was a point when Naveen and I were both really unhappy with where the band was going.
Well, we thought about starting another band.
We wanted to start another band.
The theme song is one of the songs from the band that we never started.
Yeah, absolutely. So. And we're using one of those songs from the band we never started is on the new Entheos record.
Oh.
M. Night Shyamalan plot twist. But there was a point where we were both really unhappy being in that band, being in that version of the band. This was years after. This was like probably 2 years after Evan's daughter was born, and he wasn't touring anymore. And
we didn't kick him out, by the way.
Never.
Actually, we didn't kick anybody out. So I was just sort of joking.
I feel like we've never really kicked anyone out.
We've parted ways.
We've made mutual decisions to part ways with people.
Yeah.
Evan is not one of those people.
No, Evan is our boy.
Evan is forever apart.
And even now, especially because we live in the same city.
Yeah. So getting back to that, there was a point we were touring with people who full disclosure, we didn't feel like they were pulling anywhere near to the kind of weight that we were in the band.
Damn, dude, Cheney is just calling people out, dude.
This isn't a call out at all. But when you're touring in a band and you do all of the work, but there are other people who want to reap the benefits of all of that work.
It's especially hard for us too, though, because we live together and we're sort of always
working.
The band it's not like separate from our personal life. Like, okay, we're clocking out of the band. It'll be 2 a.m. and we're watching Teen Mom on the couch and we're talking about the band.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally.
Not that I've ever watched Teen Mom.
And this isn't a dig at anyone, because I'm still dear friends with a person, still dear friends.
Yeah.
And it's not a dig, but there is a point when in a situation like that, you begin to become unhappy because I think that you and I knew that we were capable of writing an album by ourselves, and then to have to like be at a point where no one else was really contributing on a writing level to the band, and
okay, I see where you're going,
and making decisions or any of that stuff. You begin to become unhappy with the band as a whole.
Yeah, and it takes a heck of a lot longer when you're dealing with multiple members.
Yeah.
Right? So getting into why it takes so long, like there's probably another album on my computer.
I'm sure there is, but when you have other people in the band, you have to like bounce all of your ideas off of them, and although they're not really contributing a ton, they're making all the decisions just the same.
Or if they have to play on it, whether or not they wrote the whole album, if we have a guitar player, he has to play on it, we got to fly him out. I got to sit there and track him and that.
It just became like an entire process that we didn't really need to go through, because Naveen is fully capable of, Naveen has always written a lot of our music. Yeah. So that is a part of why it's taken so long for us to put out the album that we will be putting out this year.
Yeah. And I mean, also with in particular, the new album, I think we had to go through a lot of stuff. We weren't with the lineup, right? Mm-hmm. So I think it's particularly long of a wait on this one. Like we wouldn't want it to be that long. So I think to answer his question, there's kind of two ways to answer it. One, metal bands, I don't know the bands that he named. I think those are not bands.
I think they're like rock bands.
Oh, they are rock bands?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's not technical metal.
Yeah. So you got a lot working against you if you're doing technical type death metal stuff. One, you got to write it all. It takes a long time to write.
Right.
Two, everybody has to learn it. That takes a long time.
Yeah.
Three, everybody has to record it. That takes a long time.
Right.
Four, you're not doing this for a living, right? A lot of death metal bands, mainly, probably all of them.
I would say all.
Probably all of them, except for Cannibal Corpse, are working.
Yeah.
Right? So you're working, you're doing music that's really hard, you're setting yourself up to fail. That's what you're doing. Mm-hmm. When you play death metal, you are signing up for a life of failure.
Technical death failure.
No, I'm just kidding. But obviously I'm kidding. But you're not taking the easy road.
At all.
Right? So you have to do all that. Then you have to, once you do that, if you're on a label, they're going to say, well, we have a bunch of releases coming up, right? now your release is coming out 6 months after you give them the record.
Yeah, and in particular, because we've been talking back and forth with our label and management about what it means to put out a vinyl record right now. So vinyls at this point are pushed so far back that bands are actually having to make the decision whether they want to release with or without vinyl.
Right. And you will see that now. A lot of people will say everything's coming out except for the vinyl's coming out 3 months after the initial release, right?
Right. And speaking of a label, we just signed a Metal Blade last year. So we, on top of all of the other things that we're talking about, we toured on Dark Future.
Okay, so hold on. Sorry to cut you off. So yeah, that's the thing. So the normal trajectory is all the stuff I said plus touring is in there.
Yeah.
So you're writing music that's kind of hard to write. Takes a while. If you have a million notes, it's going to take a long time. You got to record it. That takes a long time. You got to coordinate it with all 4 or 5 guys who probably have jobs and wives and girlfriends and maybe some kids. After that, you got to turn it into the label. They're on another timeline. After that, there's probably some touring going on in that time. Now that's normal metal bands. Now Cheney was getting into what's happened on our last break.
Yeah. So on top of the feeling of unhappiness that I think was starting to take place at the end of the Dark Future touring cycle.
Right.
That went into, okay, we were going to be home writing. When we stopped touring at the end of, I think it was 2019.
Yeah, I was going to wonder when.
We did, okay. I think after that Betraying the Martyrs tour.
So Dark Future came out in 2016?
17. November.
Okay. So the end of 2017. Right. So basically it came out in 2018.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So we didn't even get, the last show we did was June 2019.
Yeah, and that was supposed to close up the Dark Future touring cycle.
So at that, yeah, right. So
we had planned that.
So that was a year and a half, right?
Yeah, right.
So to me, that's not really a long time considering all that shit that I just dropped on you guys that death metal bands have to deal with, right?
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Sure. Yeah,
So we said it's been a year and a half of touring, and even in that time, we had ever since Evan, had his daughter and had to stay home, and it was we weren't sure what it was going to look like. I mean, it's not ever felt right to us.
Never.
Because he's such a bro, such a brother.
Well, and such an
and we didn't really know.
Beyond Evan being like a brother to us, he's such an integral part of the way that our band sounds.
Totally.
And you realize that. Of course we realized that throughout the albums, but once we started hearing what it may sound like otherwise without Evan,
not a good thing.
It wasn't. Yeah, there was never like you really realize how integral that person is.
Right. Yeah, so I guess what I'm trying to say is even within that year and a half, we were still kind of like, okay, how's this going to work? Who's going to play on the album? You know,
it was.
If you have another guy in the band and then you go get Evan to play on it, that guy is going to be feeling weird and stuff.
Yeah, there could be some.
So we were still not really sure how things were going to land. But then, so we were writing for the album and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I think in that break, we kind of decided, hey, let's just you and me make this one. Right.
Yeah. And we also, so we had tours scheduled and we decided to put out a single and, announce that it would just be the two of us writing. And even then, when we were looking at a future album, we were not sure how we were going to release it. And we really flirted with the idea of doing it on an independent level. For a long time, we were like, that's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And so that happened.
Right.
And then we all know what happened in 2020.
Right.
And the pandemic kind of gave us even more time to sort of sit and think about to work on things,
Yeah.
but to also think about what we wanted to do with the band and how we saw it changing, evolving as we moved forward.
But what's funny is, to our buddy's question, like the writing of the music is like not the problem at all.
No.
For us personally, because we had half the album that we're putting out written, I think, before COVID even hit.
Yeah, we did.
Had over half written.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and it's still the same. The first half of the album is still the same.
Pretty much the same. So we did have a lot of it written, but then for us, we just, I honestly think with our band in particular, we kind of had to redo what the band is. Yeah, and then like Cheney said, during the COVID break, I don't know what you would call it, it's still kind of going on, we signed to a label.
Yeah.
We started getting more into videos and stuff. So we kind of started shifting away from like, let's just keep making albums, to like, let's kind of weather this storm, work on our album on a nice pace, and just kind of see how things land.
Absolutely. Because in the first, so Dark Future came out in 2017. Our band began in 2015. So within 2.5 years of being in a band, we wrote and released 2 albums and an EP. So it was very, very quick from the beginning, and we were just kind of like, we
were cranking it out.
We were cranking shit out at the beginning, but we also wanted to take more time on this album.
Yeah.
Drums for this album were recorded last January, a year ago.
Yeah.
They're still
scary.
It's not really scary when you think about, and then, on top of all of this, I got in a really bad accident in August, and I couldn't do vocals.
Yeah. So that was, we had started doing vocals, right?
We started tracking vocals the night that I got in an accident.
We were recording.
Yeah. We were so excited about the parts that we had done that we went out and drank, and I got in an accident.
Yeah. So if that didn't happen, I mean, it's possible that the album would be coming out pretty soon.
Yeah, but if that, as you will soon find out about our band, I'm sure we'll talk about it at some point. We kind of already have. If that accident had not happened, then this album would not have turned out the way that it did.
That's true.
Luckily, I'm grateful that happened, because it gave a little more time for the record, and because of that, the person playing bass on the record is the person who we want to be playing bass.
Yeah, I've already
said
it on another podcast. I mean,
I don't need to. I don't feel like we need to be secretive about it, but because of that, it afforded the person playing bass on the album more time, and now I feel like everything is kind of in its rightful place again.
Yeah, agreed. And so yeah, that happened. I mean, we had a lot of just life events happen.
Absolutely.
So for us, it's just taken longer to do this, but you know what? I'm all right with it.
With that being said, this is to me the best material that we've ever. It's far more thought out. It's everything from every drum hit to the art. Yeah. We already have the art for our album.
Right. We had enough time to sort of honestly reflect and be like, all right, what's wrong here? Mm-hmm. What do we want to change? And I really feel like we changed it all.
We really did. And I want to emphasize again that this is no dig at anyone who has ever played with us. Travis is a dear friend of ours and always will be. Love Travis very much. But sometimes, you can only look at life you can only look at the things that have happened in your life. You can't see what's about to unfold. And looking back, I think that everything did unfold in the way it was supposed to.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's never going to be 5 years before we put out another album, but we had to go through so much in order for this to happen. And I can assure you, we're already looking at release dates
Yeah.
The album is coming out this year.
And then on top of that, we're like, oh, let's move across the country.
Yeah.
In the middle of all of it. So.
And with that, we also, because of all the time that we took, not only is the person playing bass on the record exactly who it should be, the person who is mixing the record is exactly the person that we wanted. We got the artist that we wanted. The best possible label I could imagine is putting out our record. So everything is falling into line. And this is just what had to happen for us to put out something that we can be really proud of and stand on for the rest of our lives and play. And we're stoked about it, but it's never going to take this long for us to put out a record again.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. You never know. Could.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes words come back to bite you, but I think that between album 3 and 4, it's just not going to be that long.
I mean, if you and I like cranked out some kids or something, that would slow things down.
It's not going to happen. We have a baby. It's called Entheos.
Well, we have 2 fur babies.
It was really hard for me to find Shiva this morning because we've been doing a bunch of construction on our house, basically.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
So we've been well, I won't say we, because I feel like Evan did it himself.
I know. So we got here, and basically where the people who lived, we just moved from Santa Cruz, California to Nashville. Mm-hmm. And the bathroom, which the washer and dryer will be in, the old one had this really weird encasement where their washer and dryer was. And it just didn't make any sense.
Well, it had like a lip.
It had
the wall had a lip on it.
Yeah, it had a wall like maybe that big, which would have went in front of the washer and dryer that we bought.
Right.
And then the dryer would have had to stick out further than that. It would have just been real goofy. So, I mean, I'm pretty handy. Like, I do construction type work, or used to anyway. But Evan has owned a house for a really long time, and he lives in Nashville as well. So he was like, let's knock this down, we'll redo it. And I got to hand it to him. The guy is amazing. I mean, he's incredible.
I can't believe it took him a week. I know you helped a little bit, but
I definitely helped more in the beginning when we were like,
there were
breaking down the wall.
3 days where I would walk into the bathroom and it was, you would be doing other things.
I'd just be standing there
he
like,
would just be doing
it's looking good, dude.
Yeah. And you would be like eating lunch, and Evan would be
maybe
I
was thinking,
down walls.
I was like, is this like a California thing? Like I'm just like a slow, like I just.
It's like, dude, it's like totally chill.
Yeah, like
I'm gonna smoke a joint.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Evan's
he
just in there like
joints.
just going crazy.
I mean,
he stayed till
country boy.
He was here till like 10 or something. The first day we worked for like 12 hours plus.
Oh yeah. It was a long time. I mean, so they knocked down that wall and then basically re-drywalled the entire, or the laundry room wall, right? I have no idea what I'm talking about.
So we built a new opening that's a lot wider and took off. There was like trim. They're trim happy in this house. I don't know why. Actually, I do know why now because Evan explained it to me. It's easier to do trim than to make like a drywall opening because you have to keep filling it with that mud and it takes a long time for it to dry.
What's a drywall opening?
So on a door frame, like the one behind me, you got this, right? You got trim.
Welcome to the KoperCrabb Construction Podcast.
So in the bathroom, they had an opening with this trim all the way around.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Now, we knocked all that down and we made the opening wider and we built a new encasing with no trim.
Yeah.
So it's just corners made of drywall. That's it.
Oh, okay.
So in order to do that, you have to keep filling it up to get it level with the mud.
Right.
So it takes a lot longer. It's harder to do than just to nail a trim on there.
But let me tell you, I think you guys started this last Monday.
I think it was like
maybe the Monday
quick
before.
After we got here.
Maybe the Monday before. And I just primed it last night for painting, so it's ready. Yeah. It's getting ready to go.
And then when they delivered the dryer, it had a huge dent in it.
Luckily.
So we haven't even had the dryer anyway.
We only have a washer, but when we have a washer and dryer, we're going to do another tie-dye drop, and you guys will know about it first.
That was a huge reason why. Well, we want to wash and dry because we've never had one before, but
we also want to do some more of these tie-dye drops. We love making tie-dyes, so I think we're gonna. Now that we have our own washer and dryer, because the last tie-dye drop that we did, we had to take all of the tie-dyes to the laundromat.
Yeah.
And
so I don't know if
way.
any of you guys got one of those shirts, but Cheney and I did like 50, right?
Well, shout out to Chris Sanchez. I'm assuming that he listens to our podcast because he was the first person to order a shirt within, I think it was at like 12:08.
It did
8 minutes after this came out.
Like it blew our minds how well that did, because we did the shirts and we took a couple of cool photos of us doing it and we put it on Instagram. They all sold in an hour, right? Or less than
2 hours.
Oh, 2 hours. Okay.
So every time we do a drop, and this is going to stand for tie-dyes and anything else from now on, because I think that I'm going to start doing a bit of merch store stuff from our house.
The boutique.
Yeah, we're going to have a boutique, and it will all be shipped by, I would like to say both of us, but the reality is it's going to be shipped by me.
Right. I might help.
So every time we do one of those drops, we're going to announce it on the podcast first. So you guys will get, and then we won't announce it on the band pages until later the afternoon.
That's a good idea.
On Wednesday. So they're always going to be announced on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
But the band page will get it 13 or 14 hours after the podcast. So you guys, if you listen to the podcast, you're always going to have first dibs of all of that stuff.
I like that.
And it's all going to be limited edition. So just pay attention, keep your ears peeled. We'll talk about it at the beginning of the podcast.
But yeah, so now we have the ability to because you have to wash the shirts after you do we did a bleach dye. That's what we did.
Right.
You got to wash them. Now we can easily wash them. I don't have to drive. Before I threw all the wet shirts in a bucket and went over to the laundromat. And
that was so funny.
Yeah, it's not good.
It took a lot more effort to do that.
Yeah.
Because we had to basically hand wash them.
But yeah, so that's that's honestly why we haven't done a podcast in 2 weeks. The first Wednesday we were driving cross country. So I drove the van and trailer, and Cheney drove the car with, that's right, 2 cats in the car.
One of which we had to drug.
Yeah, she's having a hard time.
She's having a really hard time. So if anyone has any, I've been looking it up on Google every day. If anyone has any advice on how to help a cat adjust more to a new space. She seems to be getting better every day, but she meows way more than she ever did before.
It's kind of like at 9 or 10 at night, she's like, all right, it's my time to do my thing.
Call my people.
Yeah, and she kind of walks around and meows a lot.
She does one of those ones can you do it?
It's like, well, first, it's like it gets really hardcore,
Yeah.
Like when it's like, first it's like, meow, meow, meow. Right, that's just kind of, all right, whatever. But then it's like, ow, ow, meow, meow, meow. Like she's really going for it. And I feel bad for her, but last night she jumped up on the couch and laid with me for a long time and was really chilling out.
She's been doing that for the last 2 nights.
And so back to Cheney's story though, she's been hiding in funny places.
Whoa, is that where this began?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
So we had to take a cabinet door off of the
bathroom
thing to paint back there, but that exposed all the drawers.
Yeah. So this morning, every morning, the cats will wake us up around 10 when we wake up.
10? Yeah, right. We've been waking up so late.
We've been waking up around noon.
Crazy.
We're Californians, though. Well, I'm I don't know what I am. I'm confused.
I quit my job.
Woo!
Yeah.
Do the cheer.
I don't know which one's the cheer.
Crabs. On KoperCrabb.
I forgot I did that. Anyway, so I would have to get up really early for that. And then now that I'm not doing that, we're staying up till 3.
Yeah.
But we work on the house until 12 or 1.
Yeah. We work really we've been working really hard.
Seriously, I was thinking about it yesterday, and it's I haven't been chilling. I guess on New Year's we went to Evans and chilled. We didn't do hardly anything that day, but okay, one day. But what was I saying? Oh, did you finish the story?
Oh, we were getting to Shiva. So Shiva, our little gray.
That's right. We've been staying up late.
Delusional cat.
Losing it.
Shiva, our little gray delusional cat. So every day the cats will come and wake us up because they'll play, and for some reason our bed is like the middle of all of their playing.
They'll never go on it if we're not on it.
Never.
They're just not a thing.
Not even.
We're on it. Okay, let's go.
Which we did buy a purple mattress, and shout out to fucking purple mattresses.
I know. I was thinking
that shit is woo.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Love it.
Yeah,
That's how I feel every morning when the cats are jumping all over me.
You know, when you listen to big podcasts, they're like actually endorsed by Purple.
Right.
But I was thinking I should give out my code or whatever, because I get $75 credit if someone uses it.
Just one person.
Yeah, and they get 75 off.
All
so
right,
I was like, if you guys are, because then I can buy the pillows for free.
Yeah.
So if one of you guys is out there looking for a new mattress, get a Purple. Let's put that, whatever that code is, in the notes. And then, let's just see what happens.
Yeah.
You'll get $75
I'm
off.
telling you though, Purple. So I have really bad allergies. I take Benadryl before I go to bed every night.
Has this been helping with that?
It has, because a part of why I break out at night is because I get hot. Mattresses get hot. But the way that our Purple is built, there's something happening with it where it's like an airflow mattress.
It's like a mattress, and then there's like this grid on top that's like made of styrofoam or I don't know, whatever.
Seems like rubber.
But what was weird to me is everybody was on the, on the reviews that we read and stuff.
Even my mom.
Mind you, we have been sleeping on we bought a full mattress. Okay. So that's small, right? That's small. A full.
Full like what children
Not
sleep on.
Not a queen.
No, a full.
That's smaller than a queen.
It's
full.
One bigger than a twin.
So when we first moved to Santa Cruz, we were broke, right?
Super broke.
We were living in the barn, behind my mom's house.
Barn people.
Barn folk. And then we bought this mattress used off Craigslist.
Could have had bed bugs. We don't know.
It was probably, I think it might have been, was it free? Might have been $50.
It was $30.
Okay. We slept on that.
And this is an old school no name brand.
Is it no name?
It's got to be. It's one of those old school mattresses that was like blue that had like flower print.
It wasn't blue with flower. It was white. It was white. It was kind of nice.
Oh, it was like.
It was kind of nice.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I have a horrible memory.
Yeah.
I just made up what our mattress was.
I should have let you just roll with it.
Well, I thought it was blue with flowers.
Anyway, so we literally slept on that until.
I think it was a sleep number.
It might have been. No, Serta.
Serta. It's the
Serta?
sheep. It's whatever has the sheep on it.
Yeah. So it was kind of nice when we got it. It wasn't like super trashed or anything. But then we slept on that until we moved. So that's 10 years on a used mattress. That's a full size.
Right.
And so we're like, all right, man, we're moving. I don't want to move this mattress across country. Let's ball out and get something awesome. So I'm looking at reviews. I've never had a brand new mattress. I've never had a brand new mattress, and I've never had a washer and dryer.
I've never had like a high class mattress either.
Ever. No, I've only had used mattresses cheap. Let's just get one somewhere.
Yeah.
Kind of a situation.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, we're getting a baller mattress. Chani and I have been saving up for a while before the move, and then we.
You don't got to drop our bank account statement. Jeez.
All right, we were at. Anyway,
this is how much money we have in our savings account.
We saved up so we could buy a mattress and buy a washer and dryer. We wanted to do that for the new house.
But now we're broke. So if you guys want to ship us some money,
crates of cash. Anyway, I was looking at reviews and stuff, and people were like, "Yeah, the Purple's great. It feels kind of weird."
To sleep on?
They're saying it's weird because it has that
My mom
grid.
even said that. My mom, I didn't realize this until we talked to my mom, but it's a hobby of hers to go to the mattress store and like lay on each mattress.
That's funny.
She just lays down on each mattress to try it out. And she even reported back, the Purple kind of felt a little weird. It just didn't hit the same. They all are expecting memory foam. That's why.
Is that what she said? It didn't hit the same?
She was like, that shit didn't slap like memory foam does.
But I think this is for people who never have slept on a van bench or on the floor.
Correct.
You know?
Which is 99.9% of humanity.
Right. So,
because back to technical death metal, dude, we sleep on van benches like it ain't no thing.
So honestly,
Usually
when we get a hotel,
like when a tall person like Evan has to sleep on a van bench, then he has to like bend his knees.
it's horrible.
And then you get all these cricks in your knees, and it really hurts to like expand your knees in the morning.
A van bench is like 16 inches wide. It's like literally this wide. When you look at, because I was looking at the van benches outside the van, and I was like, how does a man sleep on that?
Dude, when we did that Animals headlining tour, not only was it Animals, which, you know, small band, 3 people, you think, oh, you can fit like way more people. So we had Animals, me, Evan, Kalela, Steve Jones, Zach, all up in a van, and we were like sleeping in it every night. So you and I would both sleep on one bench together.
Right.
And I remember, and this was in the middle of the fucking summer.
And Evan was opening the tour. That's why he was there. He wasn't.
No, he was just there
playing
for
Animals.
moral support.
Yeah. And then we had a camera.
Evan just decided to come along, and he had his bass, and he would just sit in there.
He would play us songs, and we would do jigs.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's
somehow
not
we
wrong.
both slept. I don't know how we did that. I mean, that must have been. I think
we were
I
psycho.
sat up and you laid on me or
that's
something.
That's what happens when you're young and in love, folks.
That's true.
Don't ever fall.
I loved every minute of it, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
I actually did love every minute of it.
Oh, I definitely did.
Yeah, it was really fun, except for there were a few things that happened.
So let's just wrap up this mattress thing.
God, selling merch
Sucks.
totally sucks.
Yeah. But anyway, so we got the comfortable mattress. The cats like to jump on it and when we're sleeping in it. But anyway, we laid down. I was kind of worried about it. Like, all right, is this going to be weird? We laid down on it, and I was like, this is just the most comfortable thing I've ever laid on. I don't feel any weirdness at all.
Literally. The purple mattress. God, this has been the longest mattress advertisement of all time.
All right.
The
Which
purple mattress.
we're not sponsored by them at all. So, I mean.
Yeah, we're not sponsored. Wink,
That's
wink.
a good way to do it. That would have been the best ad ever.
I know. It's like, why would we ever talk about this? We're definitely not sponsored by
I don't
them.
think you can lie.
We're 100% not getting paid thousands of dollars for this ad.
What if you're just cross your fingers?
Yeah.
But
do you remember when that worked?
no, I was never that
That's
type of kid.
That's why you're a liar, Naveen.
Why am I a liar?
I'm just kidding.
Oh.
Naveen is seriously the opposite. I can just tell if you're lying right away.
I don't lie. If I do lie, I'm
me.
joking. It's a joke lie, so I'm trying to make it
This is
bad.
how you lie. You know how you're supposed to like look people in the eye when you lie? This is how you lie. Oh no, I definitely, it'll be like this. You'll be talking to me and looking me straight in the eye. Oh yeah, babe, do you want to go down the, oh no, I totally didn't do that. Like looking down.
As if I'm sitting around fibbing all the time. I don't do that. If I do it, it's because I'm joking around.
No, you're like honest Abe.
It's the best way to be, man.
But
you know
this is why I lie all the time, probably because I was like getting away with it, crossing my fingers behind my back.
Yeah, I could
That's what
definitely
I
see
do.
that. I could
I'll
see that.
I'll send an email like this. Yeah, I totally want to go do that. Thanks. What a good song.
I could definitely see you doing that. Sorry, Cheney. Like,
still feeling good about.
You're an honest person, but little stuff.
What did I lie about?
Well, one time I was like, all right, I'll give you like a foot rub, and then you give me a foot rub.
Oh, okay.
And then after you were done.
I was crossing my fingers behind
my
back.
After I was done with I was like, all right, my turn. You're like, no, I'm not doing it. Yeah.
I think it was like a half an hour foot rub too.
Yeah. So if those kind of deals get made, it's show me the money up front.
I have to rub first.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, my problem with your foot rubs is that you don't put enough oomph into it. I remember Evan told me this one time. I was doing something. This is something that has stuck with me for years. Okay. And his voice comes into my head every so often when I'm doing something. Because I was like, I can't remember what I was doing on tour, right? And then Evan was like, why don't we get Frank to do that? And I was like, oh, you don't think I'm good at doing this? And Evan was like, it's not that I don't think you're good at it. It's that I don't think you put the same amount of oomph into every one that you do. You know? Yeah. And ever since then, if I'm drawing I'll be like doing dot work and one of the dots will be all like fricked up.
Damn.
And I'll be like, it'll be Evan's voice in my head. I just don't think you put the same amount of oomph into every dot.
Dang, that's like a dad's voice in your head.
I've been meaning to tell him that. It just hasn't come up.
It's just resonated with you.
Evan's voice just lives in my head. Just, you're not dotting enough. You're not dotting
like,
with enough.
That one eye looks a little different than the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Because he has something that I don't have, and that's called patience.
Evan?
Yeah. And I noticed that when he was working on the bathroom. You know? He's not like, gotta get it done. It's just
no.
He is working really hard and stuff, but he's not like tripping about getting it done.
Well, because when you trip about getting something done, which I find myself doing too, and I think that's what he was getting at when he was telling me that I was just not practicing everything with enough patience. And when you are a super impatient person, you'll rush past a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
You'll just do things for the sake of getting them done, and it doesn't always like come out in a professional fashion.
I know, and that's the worst thing. And I wonder sometimes, because it's weird. We're out here, you know, we moved somewhere where we moved here to do whatever we pursue our artistic endeavors, right? Mm-hmm. And now I'm doing it, and sometimes I find myself getting all like frustrated. Like yesterday, I wanted to set up this podcast room, right? So the room was just full of stuff, and it wasn't. We're still moving in. We're still getting unpacked. We're remodeling this, that, and the other thing. So it's taking a long time, right?
Yeah.
So in here, like the draperies weren't installed. Nothing was ready. I built a shelf over there. So it took a long time. You know, it took like a good amount of the day. And I found myself like getting frustrated that it was taking so long, you know? And then I'm like, why do I feel that way? Because this is like what all I'm doing today. So what difference does it make?
Yeah.
Why am I getting, and I think it's just like years of conditioning of like not having enough time. I don't know. Maybe, I think it might stem from the idea of just like, I'm always doing my creative endeavors in between a full-time job, you know?
Right.
So like if the day is almost out and I didn't get everything done, I'm like, fuck, like tomorrow I got to go to work and I can't do this stuff that I wanted to do. But even then you shouldn't be mad. It's just like things take as long as they do.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And I think that's a hard thing for me as of someone who's not patient. So I have to like actively tell myself like, this is what you're doing today. It's okay. It's okay to go to the store. The screws were gone for this desk, right? Mm-hmm. Which is awesome, by the way. We get our awesome podcast desk.
Oh, yeah,
back.
We have it back. Woo!
Look at that thing, dude. It's huge. You're really far away from me.
Yeah, thank God.
I know. It's
or
nice.
I think
we're doing social.
universe.
I think we're socially distant compliant right now.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, it's okay for things to take as long as they do. Like,
patience is a virtue, folks.
It really is. I honestly think honesty and patience are the two best things that you can have. I've got one of them,
agree.
But I don't have the...
Patience is the one you have.
The patience, I have to tell myself it's okay.
Yeah.
Chill the F out, dude.
Yeah, I agree. You really... things come out better that way.
I know.
If you're patient with them, you're going to enjoy the product a little more. And that's why you should be patient waiting for our new album.
There you go. Yeah, and like with that too, I think part of the reason why I've been feeling like, oh, why isn't this done? Because it's like we do need to finish tracking the vocals. So I'm thinking
blowing up my spot.
Well, it just is what it is, yeah. And there's some guitar stuff that needs to be done too.
Well, then it needs to be mixed.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh, I gotta do it. But it's like, why? You know, why? Why am I freaking out?
Yeah.
It's just, it's not like I'm sitting around, right? I'm busy all day. I'm doing stuff. Mm-hmm. And that's how long it takes to do the stuff.
It's true. And, you know, sometimes you get, especially with the internet, I think, you'll get this feeling of urgency because you see people announcing things all the time or, you know, doing things all the time. And it's just like everything exists on its own timeline. And And I really do believe this. I really do think that things happen as they're supposed to. And they just kind of lay themselves out. And in 5 years from now, hindsight will be 2020, and I'll understand why it was 5 years in between our albums. 4.5 years.
Exactly. But we're stoked about it. And
I really can't wait to share.
I know
what we've been working on.
It's going to just be that much better.
It's awesome. It's different. It's similar all at once. It's got a rock song on it.
It does have a rock song.
Prog. It's super. I would say that it's like the most extreme of everything we've done. Yeah. It's the most extremely metal and technical and the most extremely not.
It's true.
So yeah, it's just really exciting, and we're being patient with it because we want to put out something that we're really, really genuinely proud of.
Yeah, agreed. And I mean, we're having also a good time setting up our new house and
I love
demolishing stuff.
Getting back to living in Nashville. I just fucking love it here, man.
I know.
Every day I feel like we spend at least an hour talking about how much we love it here. There's just
the pace,
and no diss to California. I love California, and I love the time that I spent there, and I think it was very necessary for me in life. And you're from there, of course. You're always gonna, be about California.
No, I wouldn't say that. I'm so about it.
True, but there is something incredibly different between the day-to-day of Tennessee, the day-to-day of the middle of the country, and the day-to-day of the coasts. People in the middle of the country are genuinely a lot more kind. When you just go and interface with people on a daily basis, people at the grocery store, people at restaurants. I remember, so Naveen's family and or Naveen's dad and us, we went to this Taco Bell in Santa Cruz, and we would always go to it. And there was this employee there named Julian. Shout out Julian, 41st Taco Bell in Santa Cruz. And he was such a good employee. He was kind. He was always on top of everything. He remembered your entire Taco Bell order, and he was just on top of it. And we would always leave that Taco Bell saying, damn, why isn't Julian working at like a 5-star restaurant? He should be picked up and employed somewhere else. And then when you move to the South, you realize that everyone is Julian. Julian isn't special. He was just the kind of employee.
He was just doing his job in an acceptable way out here.
Because there are so many times you'll interface with people who work in service in California, and they almost act as if you're inconveniencing them by ordering food from them. And
this is especially like at Home Depot
especially bad
or
in
something.
San Francisco.
Oh, forget about that.
Oakland.
Yeah, no.
I'm just going to put them on blast. Solely Vegan. We went to Solely Vegan.
It's comical.
While we were tracking drums, I think.
Yeah. It was comical.
And there was a guy there who literally acted like we were assholes for coming in and trying to order food.
He was mad.
He was pissed at us.
I was like, whoa,
I've never seen worse service in my life.
It was really bad.
And that's not how people should act.
To Solely Vegan's credit, though, when I went back there and I was tracking with Machine Head, went back down the street, that guy was gone, and they were being really nice.
So maybe
they realized that
he
dude
should have been fired. He was a horrible employee.
But yeah, it's just little stuff like the neighbors are super nice. Someone came over and like gave us a loaf of banana bread, which was
delicious.
Really good.
We demolished
and then,
all of it.
I appreciate. I was out raking leaves. Everyone who drove by waved. I'm like, and the thing is, it's like I'm that type of dude. That's just my vibe. I'm nice. I thank people at restaurants.
From Kentucky, so
exactly. So I thank people at restaurants. If I see the cook, I'm gonna be like, hey, thank you very much. Thank the people that made your food or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like weird in California, whereas here that's just how people are.
Yeah.
And then on top of that,
it's refreshing. And I know that people have called Nashville LA, but with manners.
Yeah.
Which, we live on the skirts.
Yeah, we don't actually live in Nashville proper.
No, we live in a suburb. But, we did go in and hang out at a bar. We went and hung out at a bar last week that was in East Nashville. And when I walked in, everyone around, the way that everyone was dressed looked like San Francisco people. Like kind of a hipster vibe.
Yeah, they had tattoos. Kind of hipsterish looking people.
They looked like us, to be quite honest. They looked like us. And I was like, oh God, this bar is going to be just full of assholes.
Yeah.
And it was insane how nice everyone was. The bartenders were like, I was asking the bartender about whiskey. And this was a girl who would have typically, like in San Francisco, she probably would have been like really standoffish to me. And she pulled out the whiskey and she's like, oh yeah, it's this kind.
Yeah.
I really like whiskey. I want to know about the whiskey that you have.
Yeah, I mean, the other bartender invited me to be his +1 at a jiu-jitsu class.
Yeah.
So it's like, and we met a couple other guys,
We
They're
made
just
friends.
really nice. And typically when we go to like a bar or something, we're kind of just like talk to each other,
Yeah.
And that's not for lack of us being like not talkative.
No,
because we didn't engage those guys. They started talking to us.
Right.
So
it's
it was
just
great.
an overall vibe. And like I said, I love California. California is beautiful and, people there are fantastic in their own ways. We have really, really good friends who are in Santa
my
Cruz.
family lives there.
Yeah.
So.
But there is an overall, it's a different vibe.
It really is. And
it reminds me a little more of where I came from. Honestly,
right.
because and only now am I seeing how actually insane it is to be picked from the Midwest and move straight to LA. Sort of insane.
that's hardcore.
And
especially if you're so young, because you were only like 22. Right?
Yeah, I was very young.
And hadn't even been to California before.
I had never been to California and I just moved there.
A small town girl and living in a lonely
I hate
world.
when people say that. Des Moines is not a small town. But Evan was
I know
telling
you
me,
get super defensive.
Evan was
about
telling
that,
me the other day that he calls Nashville a small town.
it's small compared to like New York, LA, San Francisco, which is good. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
I don't want to live in a.
I do not want to.
I don't
live in a
want
city.
to live in one of those big places. I already did that. I don't like it.
I don't like it at all. I love visiting those places, but I can only take about 3 days, and then I'm like, get me the fuck out
Although
of here.
now it's going to be real rough for me to visit those places when we go to breakfast, and it's not $14.
Oh my God.
I mean, Shane and I
Waffle
went and
House.
had breakfast, and they gave me the check, and it was $14.
That is a good price.
Like, that's not happening
Yeah.
in California. Maybe you could go to Mickey D's for $14.
I don't even know. If
I
you
don't
can
know
do
about that.
I don't know if you.
I don't
can
know
do
about that. Yeah. So, I mean, it's like that across the board. Not to mention, we don't need to go super deep into it, but our cost of living here is just so dramatic.
It's literally thousands of dollars less.
Oh yeah,
Thousands of dollars less.
half.
It's less than half.
Less than
Less
half.
than half.
Yeah. So, I'll take that deal.
I will gladly take it.
And then everyone goes, "Oh, it's gonna be cold because it's winter there."
Yeah, we
and
have
I'm like,
a fucking
it's nice.
heater.
Yeah,
we have a heater.
And like, yeah, it slightly snowed the other night.
It was gorgeous.
It's cool. I like it.
Also,
I have no
the house
problem
we
with it.
lived in, in Santa Cruz was fantastic, but there was only one working heater in the house, and it was in the room that we did the podcasts in.
Yeah, so that's one heater vent for the whole. The house is small, but one heater vent.
So we were constantly freezing, and we would turn the heater on maybe 3 times a month. Our last electricity bill was $500.
Yeah, well, it was 400, but still,
Okay,
that's
whatever.
freaking insane.
Whatever.
I told that to Evan, and he's like, "Dude, their house is like, I don't know, probably 1,800 feet. So it's double what we had in California."
Right.
He was like, "Our electric bill's never been that much, and we run an HVAC the whole time. We got a couple space heaters.
Yeah.
What the hell?"
I know.
So stuff like that across the board, especially when you're trying to, invest your life into death metal. Come on now. That's not going to work.
Speaking of death metal, we announced a tour that we didn't talk about on the podcast. So we will be on Tech Trek in April with Vulvodynia. I think that's how you pronounce it. Inferi and Archspire.
And little old Entheos.
Little old Entheos.
But I got a lunch.
Naveen's got a lunch date
going on here.
Naveen's getting his Nashville lunch dates started and
So
fired up. So we've got to cut this one short.
Lunch here.
Hope we entertained you.
Yeah, you know
Love
what?
ya.
I wanted to say this
Love you, honeys.
earlier. I feel so great to be doing the podcast and doing it in our new spot.
Me too.
And I'm just like, this is what we're doing now, baby.
That's what's up.
So have a great day, y'all.
Have a good week. Love you guys. See you next week. KoperCrabb Podcast.
KoperCrabb Podcast out.
Third studio, what up?